Hello, can you hear me? Can you hear me? Hello? Hello, who's on the line? Hello, who's on the line? Hello, can you hear me? Please use the comment section if you can hear me and indicate your presence using the comment section, please. Can you hear me? Can you hear me now? Is it better now? Please, is the audio better now? Is the audio better now? Can you hear me now? Can you hear me? Can you hear me better now? Can you hear me better now? So let's comment. Hope you can hear. Please use the comment section to indicate if you can hear me. Can you hear me? Can you hear me, please? Can you hear me? Isaac, can you hear me? My name is Robert Alexander, and I'm a relationship enthusiast. The purpose of this gathering is to create some sort of awareness. I've noticed that that people are not really getting it right in their relationship, and marriages are actually breaking up because of things that are out of trivial excuses. So I've been passionate about relationships and marriages, and it is my desire to add my own discourse to what has been happening in relationship and also in marriages. And I believe this episode will bring some clarity to most people who are finding it difficult having a sustainable relationship, and those who intend, strengthen their relationship and taking it further into marriage. Please, if at any point you can no longer hear me, just indicate in the comment section so that I will adjust my audio. So basically today we shall be looking at why do breakup happen? Why do breakup happen in relationships? And why is it that our marriages are failing? Marriages are failing. There's high divorce rate, and people seem to say that they don't really know what people need in relationship. I've heard some women say they don't know what men truly want, that they've done all they know that they should do, and still they can actually keep their man. So we shall be discussing these issues and try to find solutions to them. So Isaac, thank you for joining. I can see you, Isaac Adeyemi. So basically, why is it that what I have found out is that whenever there is a breakup in relationship, people are always quick to put the blame on their partner. No one thinks about taking responsibility for whatever thing that must have happened in the relationship. They put all the whole blame on their partner. And for me, I think this is absolutely wrong. If you're that kind of person that is always blaming your partner whenever there's an issue or whenever there's a breakup, I'm afraid you may have a long history of breakup. So people have dated same guy in different form. The only thing that changes is the person's name and maybe his height or maybe his physiology. But in terms of character, they dated the same person repeatedly and they end up blaming whoever they've dated and not themselves. I've always said that whenever there's an issue in a relationship or whenever there's a problem in a relationship, the first person to blame is not your partner. The first person to blame is you. For you to have made a wrong choice right from the beginning of the relationship, that shows that your partner is not to blame. So, and what do I mean? You are you are embarking on a journey, and you can't just bring anybody in unless the person that has the same vision, the same values with you. I notice that most times women don't really ask the necessary questions, and they themselves are not even prepared for a relationship. I've asked a couple of women who intend going into relationship, okay, what is the vision of your life? What do you think you were created to do on earth? Because this is helps you, not just saying yes to any guy that comes your way. Even to the guys, if you are aware of where you're heading to, where you'll be in the next 10 years, you have a vision, you have a plan for your life. You cannot just date any lady. You can't just ask any lady out. And you cannot just propose marriage to anybody. But I found that people don't know basic things about themselves. And if you don't know yourself, then how will you know someone that fits into your life? And this is where most of the problems we have in relationships start from. People don't know themselves. There's lack of self-awareness. They don't know their temperament. They don't know. They don't have values. They don't know what their life is all about, and they want to be in love. Love is often been said that love is not enough. Love has never been enough. There's a whole lot of things you need to know about yourself, and that's why I came about this program called Cracking the Relationship Code. There are a lot of things you need to crack. There are a lot of knots you need to crack before you think about going into a relationship. You need to crack the nut of knowing who you are, knowing why you're here on earth, knowing your having values, having standards and realistic standards, having knowing your temperament traits, knowing your love language. These are the things you should know about yourself and knowing what it is your life is all about. If you know these things, if you know all these things, and you're looking for someone else, you know what exactly you should be looking out for in that person. But that person share a similar vision with you? Can people actually support each other and all that? So these are the vital things you should know about yourself. This session will not be enough for me to exhaust all that you should know, but I'll try as much as possible to cover most of them. Now, take for instance, now you don't know what your temperament is, and that temperament is a very key thing you should know about yourself. I've asked a couple of men, a couple of women, what do you think your temperament is? They're not aware. And if you do not know your temperament, it will impact negatively in the relationship. Take for instance now a collect the guy will always be insisting on his way, the lady will always be insisting on her way. Both of them will hardly agree. Both of them will always be at loggerheads. But if these people know what kind of temperament they are and they are self-aware of this temperament, they will know when their temperament is actually playing out on the relationship and they will be able to manage it properly. Now, next one is your love language. Very, very, very important. If you do not know your love language, you'll be communicating the wrong message to your partner. Take for instance now, your love language, and the way it works is that people actually communicate their own love language and not the love language of their spouse or their partner. Take for instance now, my own love language is let's say receiving of gifts. I will always be buying gifts for my partner because that is what comes naturally to me. But meanwhile, my partner is not that kind of person that is receiving a gift. Her own may be quality time or words of affirmation. And I'm busy buying gifts for her. And she will not really feel love because I'm communicating the love language, having misunderstanding because people don't really understand how to give and receive love. Now, one thing I discovered about breakup is that people go into relationships even when they are not ready for marriage. They are just dating for fun. And I believe women are most times the worst hit in all these things. In the sense that a guy approaches you now and says he's interested in you, he likes you, and he wants to start a relationship with you. The lady in question wouldn't ask, why do you want to date me? Why do you want me into your life? What do you want? Why do you want me to be in a relationship with you? Most times they don't ask all these things. They just say yes, and the relationship begins. Now they date for 1 year, 2 years, and most times sexual intercourse is always involved. And when they are done having the best of each other, the guy will now say he's no longer interested. Look for one flimsy excuse, and it calls the relationship. It brings the relationship to an end. He says he's no longer interested. Now he has wasted 3 years of that lady's time, of that girl's time. Another guy comes, dates this girl, says the same thing to this girl. This girl says yes, and that 2 to 3 years is gone. Before you know it, this lady in question has gone from one relationship to another, and she must have spent like 9 years. And that's why I will always advocate that relationships are actually meant for those who are ready for marriage, so that we will not just be wasting people's time unnecessarily. We will not just be wasting people's time unnecessarily. Now, the reason why I say women are the most worst hit is that men don't really have the pressure of time on their part. Even when a man is 40 years old, they can marry from 40 below. But for a lady, the more you're coming up on age, unconsciously, that age factor is already running in your mind. You become desperate. Society being start wanting pressure on you. And that's why I would always advocate that when a guy comes to you and he's not ready for marriage, don't there's no point listening to him. There's no point listening to somebody who isn't ready for marriage. Unless you want to date for fun and you just want to while away your time. But the best advice has always been date somebody who is ready for marriage. Now there's one thing most men usually do. They are dating you, they will not want any other guy to come close to you. And it's not as if they have paid any dowry, they've paid any made any commitment. So one funny thing is that people assume attraction to be commitment. Attraction is not commitment. Two people may be attracted with each other to each other, but that doesn't say give any form of commitment to it. A casual date with someone, women really need to wise up. They really need to step up their game. The way this relationship most times is being handled, it ends up not favoring the ladies because of their approach or because of their approach towards it. Now, take for instance, a guy is saying he wants exclusive, and there's one funny thing most men usually say, and they usually stick a whole lot on women. They usually say, now what is now the special thing between the two of us if sex is not involved? And because of this, women actually fall into it. And most times men may not even fall into it. They end up saying, okay, since to make our own special or to make it different from what other people out there, let's involve from some of intimacy. I've often said that you can be intimate with someone and not having sexual intercourse with the person. You can be intimate with someone and not going on the whole lane of romance and sex and all that. So what am I trying to say in essence? Even most times marriages stand the chance of failing. How much more relationships? And the book of Proverbs, which I love very much, has given us a clue. It says, guide your heart with all diligence, for out of it cometh out the issues of life. But funny enough, we throw off our hearts and expecting that somebody good and caring will catch it and love us. But it doesn't really work that way. The only person that we are supposed to give our undiluted love, unreserved love, is to our creator, our maker. But people tend to give this love to a human being. I've seen couples at the demise of their spouse, their life becomes a shadow of itself because they've built their life around their spouse. I've seen people committing suicide just because their boyfriend or the girlfriend says they're no longer interested. For me, this is outright foolishness. And it's as a result of your rebellion to what God is saying. God is not against dating, but it's against some of the things we do while dating. And that's the major thing that causes us heartbreak when there is a disagreement or when there is a fallout or whenever a party decides to leave. Take for instance, the Holy Scripture says that you should love God with all your heart, with all your strength, with all your mind, and with all your soul. Funny enough, we carry all these whole things, all this whole energy, and you're giving it to a particular human being. That person does not stand the chance of loving us the way we expect. He's still a human being. And that's why I always advise people that when going into a relationship, take charge of your emotions. Emotions, most times our emotions will always want to play a trick on us. We would want to put the cart before the horse because we feel it is the right thing to do. In relationship, you don't do what you feel. You do what you think is the right thing to do. And that's why I always advocate that people have counselors, people that will guide you. Because most times, when you're in the frame, you may not really be able to think straight. Even when you're seeing red, you want to deceive yourself and say, this is not red, this is white. But when you have counselors, the Bible says, so even before you're saying yes to that guy, even before you're saying yes to that lady, you need an assistant. You need someone that will help you go through your values, go through your standards, help you evaluate what you truly want, and help you make the right choice. But most times we don't do all these things. We feel we know more, we feel we know better, and we end up having our hearts broken. So as I was saying earlier, our emotions play trick or not. Our emotions will always lead you into putting the cat before the horse, into taking a jump, taking a leap. It's often been said that we should look before we leap. But oftentimes that's not what we do. The reverse is always the case. So what are the things that is expected of you going forward? Most times people are in a relationship that they have no business being in that relationship. And I've noticed that most people, because of the time they have spent, perhaps they have spent 2 years, 3 years, 4 years with this guy or with this lady, and you're thinking, if I call it sweet now, you're having self pity. My brother, my sister, you need to at a point evaluate how far this relationship has gone. Do we really need to go a step further? Because you can't be running so fast on the wrong lane. For instance, now you are heading towards a particular state and you're being told there is danger at 6 kilometers away. Will you not say because you have gone so far, you continue on the journey? No, of course, you will not continue. You will make a U-turn and start going back home because you want to be safe first. So also it is in a relationship. If you realize that based that there's danger ahead of you, and based on what has happened so far in the relationship, we don't think that you guys can actually go forward and you have both of you have tried working things over. It's no longer working, it's not working. The best thing for you is to call it quits. In a relationship out of self-pity. You still have yourself to blame in the long run. Stop treating relationship as if you guys are already married, as if it is cast on stone. One of the essence or one of the reasons why people, ask people out is to see the workability, to see if it's gonna work or not. And it shouldn't necessarily be something exclusive, especially when the guy has not made a serious commitment on you. Most men will always say, no, they could be very jealous. Okay, you want to hang out with your friends, you want to hang out with your male friends, they'll say no, they're angry and all that. As a lady, you need to really be wise about that. Because this same guy will end up restricting you from seeing anybody, restricting you on going on a simple date with anybody. And at the end of it all, you will still say, my mommy said, or you still say, look for one preliminary excuse and call the relationship quit, or you end up crying. So stop treating relationship as if your life depends on it. Stop treating relationship as if your partner, without him, you can no longer survive. There's this analogy I want to give. I've said that even marriages stand the chance of failing. So when you have this mindset that I'm with this guy and he's human, he can wake up tomorrow and say, that's no longer interested, what will be your attitude? Won't you at least play that thing in your mind and say, what if this guy or what if this lady says is no longer interested tomorrow? I think in a relationship, the door is always open for both parties to actually say, okay, I've been with this lady for some time now, and based on what I've observed so far, I don't think I can actually continue with her or not. That's how I see it. I may be wrong, but that's how I see it. And by the time you have this kind of mindset, even if you love the guy, even if you show the guy care and affection and all that, you won't put your life in it. You won't put your whole heart in it. You won't love it with all your mind, with all your strength, with all that you've got. You have some kind of emotional shock absorber in case the worst happens. And it's often been said that you, you know, hope for the best and prepare for the worst. So this should be our mindset when it comes to relationship. And if you have this mindset, even when a guy says he's no longer interested, or even when the lady says no longer interested, you you feel sad, but that doesn't mean your life will come to a stop, or your life will no longer pain and you know crying and all that. Your life will still continue because you see yourself as someone so special and something that is of value and is of that has worth, that has self worth and all that. If you have that kind of self confidence within yourself, you definitely find somebody else. God did not create us and made us in such a way that if it's not a particular person, then you no longer have a mate. It doesn't work that way. Now, the another thing is I actually want to talk about is the 21st century dynamics when it comes to relationships. During the days of our parents, people live in communities and families know other families. And most times there's this recommendation, okay, married from a KK family, we know them, they have good behavior, they are well trained and well groomed. But now, due to this computer age, this digital age, though some people still do that, but I noticed that people do meet in cities, meet in conferences, meet online, social media, and all that. People spend most of their time online. And that's why I say the dynamics have really changed. And most people use their social media page, social media handle to say all sorts of things, something that will still backfire tomorrow. I've seen people who have lost their job because of the kinds of things they said on social media. And trust me, every lady and every guy, and I'm so sure that most guys do that. When they meet a lady online, they often want to go through her social media space to see the kinds of things she posts, to see the kinds of things she says using her social media page. And that's why you cannot afford not to be projecting yourself positively online. You cannot afford not to be saying things that are wholesome, that are noble, that are praiseworthy online. You shouldn't use your social media space to be dragging people, to be abusing, to be saying all sort of rubbish, because that could portray you as not being decent. And that's why I say that the dynamics has really changed based on based on what happened during the time of our president and what is happening now. So your social media handle could be an avenue to, hook up with someone that you think that you never even think or even imagine. Take for instance, you have a good self branding. You branded yourself so much online. You actually make most people to connect with you. You have a very good profile. You have something that you're passionate about. You're into content marketing, copywriting, and these are the things to say almost, when people see people of value, they always want to connect with them. There's this quote that people often say that value don't beg. And it's actually true. Value don't beg. If you know that you've got value, you can't go around begging people to, stay in your life. People always want to come to you. People also always want to spend their time within your space. And this is essentially what you should be using your social media handles for. Always put valuable content to your social media handle. Always put things that are noble, things that are praiseworthy. Project yourself positively online because people spend much of their time online. Now, I've counseled a lot of people. And whenever people reach me that they are in a relationship, I recommend some books for them to read. They will say they are not the reading type. You're doing yourself a whole lot of disservice. You're doing your like you're actually shooting yourself on the leg by saying that because there are so many things you need to learn from reading. It sharpens your mind. It helps you to engage positively in discussions. You can actually make contributions when a topic is being brought up. And apart from that, there are a couple of things that will help you even in your relationship. Take for instance now, this issue of love language, this issue of temperament, this issue of personal discovery. You may not really get to know all these things unless you read. When you are sick, no matter how whatever thing you want to do, you still have to take drugs to be fine. Most of the things that we do, it's not that we like doing. Like 5 minutes every day. It's not really about the length of time, but your consistency, your commitment to it. If you're always doing it 10 minutes every day, 15 minutes every day, read something that would improve you, something that would add value to you, something that will make you grow in your knowledge base. It's very, very, very important. Now, let me tell you something. If you you are in a garden, let's say for instance there's a hangout, you have an hangout with your friends, both male and female and all that, and the discussion is being brought up. Whoever that makes the most meaningful contribution, people around there will always want to take the guy out. If it's a lady, guys around there will always want to. If it is a guy that makes the most meaningful contribution, ladies around there will be interested in that guy. That is as simple as that, and that's why you cannot afford not to grow your knowledge base. Know something about everything. Know something at least if you don't know everything, just know a little bit about sports, about politics, current affairs, fashion, entertainment. Know a little things about these things. It will really help you in not being lost in conversations. Now, some women may say, okay, now that they are not really based, they are not actually seeing men, or they have been attracting the wrong people to themselves. Whenever a lady says these things to me, my very first question I usually ask her is that how has she actually branded herself? For a guy, how have you branded yourself? Because perception really matters. What people perceive of you really matters. And it depends on how you brand yourself on social media around your friends. You can be friends with most guys, but if you always set your boundaries like this line, okay, we are friends, we are playing, we can joke and all that. But let people know their boundaries, let people know their limits. And people will actually respect it for that. Oh, this guy is joking, this guy is lively, this guy is nice, but she doesn't take rubbish. But if you are that kind of person that people can actually, come, play, do all sorts of things, touch you anyhow, people will see you as every other lady out there. And that reminds me, there's something I really want to address. And most guys do these things a lot. Most guys do these things a lot. most men now, sex is no longer their problem. If they want sex, they can get it from anywhere. And when they are done having it, they are now in search of a white material. And they approach this certain lady and they talk to her and try to woo her and all that, and she says yes. One of the very first tests that will be given to her, or they want to know, most guys want to know if she's like every other women out there. And this, and most women who fall for this, they will ask, okay, can you come over, can you visit me and all that? And they want to know if you are like every other women. And by the time you come over and they try touching you and all that, and you resist, you visit the next day and you resist, they begin to see you differently. But the moment you succumb to it, they see you like every other woman. It's up to you. If after this program you decide to see a guy for the very first day, or and decide to go down that route with him, it's fine. But if you really want something serious, and if you really want to preserve your self dignity, try as much as possible to protect the aspect with all that you've got. One lady asked me, is it that men don't really have self dignity, and why is it always women that are being asked to, not succumb to sex and all that? I said the way men think towards sex and after it is different. They see it as fun, they can do it and not have any emotional attachment, and they are on to the next person. But most of the time, women don't see it that way. And that's why whenever there is a breakup, women really feel the pain all the more because they always feel they're being used. What am I trying to say in essence? Relationship does not necessarily have, it doesn't, you don't need, really need to face, have this emotional heartbreak at the end of relationship. If your attitude towards it is right, if your mindset towards it is proper, hang out with him, be friends with him, but do not put your heart in it. Just like you're standing on a plane. I know that this plane stand a chance of sinking. You're not going to stand on it so relaxed. You're going to be cautious while standing on it, and that's how. And that should be your attitude towards relationships. And for me, one of the major things that causes people to get it wrong is emotions. They don't think. They don't think. Emotion. If you don't manage your emotions very, very well, you always get it wrong. Because most times, love is not really about what Can you hear me now? Can you hear me now? I think there was a Can you hear me now? Please use the comment section, please. Can you hear me? 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 Can you hear me now? So we've come a long way, and sorry, I had network issues. So we've come a long way, and in summary, what I was saying basically is that it really pains me when I people see people having heartbreaks after when there's a breakup in relationship. This is a do or die affair. You see relationship as if the person we are dating that as if our life depends on that person. And most times we do not have purpose, we do not have vision for our life. We do not have something that we are alive for. We do not have something that we are actually living for. For instance, if you're um, passionate about a project or you have a vision for your life, when you wake up every morning, that's the very first thing that will come to your head. How am I going to execute this project? How am I going to raise funds? How am I going to, grow? Your life is built around a vision, a calling. But most times people don't really have these things about themselves. They are not built in their life around a particular person, and they expect that person to make them happy. That person doesn't have the power to make you happy. The power lies in your own hands to make yourself happy. And it is about you fulfilling God's purpose for your life, discovering it, pursuing it, and trying to see how you get better, how you improve on yourself. So whoever that's coming to your life around this person, you call him or her 247 every now and then. You're calling him, my brother, my sister. The other person says he's no longer interested. Your life will be as if it's coming to an end because you, in particular, you do not have something you're living for. You don't have something that wakes you up. You don't have something that drives. You don't have something that you're so passionate about. Now you're transferring all these energies to a particular guy or a particular lady. You are not making that person your idol. Most time when you wake up in in the morning, he's the first person or she's the first person you call. You no longer pray. You no longer, have a good relationship with your creator because of a particular person. Definitely, that thing does not stand a chance of filling the void that's in your heart. God created us for Himself, and our life remains restless until rest in God. Whatever thing that takes the place of God in your life will definitely cost you heartbreak in the long run. Even if it's your spouse that takes the place of God in your life, it's just a matter of time because that person is human. He cannot actually be perfect or be available 265 days in a year. And that's why you need to build your life around a vision, around a purpose. What is that thing you have been created for? If you do not discover that thing and start pursuing it, and you use a human being in the name of relationship to replace that, you always be frustrated. You always be having heartbreak. Take for instance now, I'm always thinking of how to reach more people, to tell people about this message. If I'm reading, it's one of the major things that preoccupies my mind. It's not if I don't have a relationship, but I'm not building my life around that person. I'm not building my whole existence about. I have my life. I have got something that my life is all about. And that's what I'm actually advising you in this call. Have something that your life is all about. Don't make your life all about. Don't build your life around a particular person. Have vision. Have values. Have purpose. Discover yourself. Know yourself. Be self-aware of your weaknesses and your strengths. And this is why we are talking about cracking the relationship code. If this code about yourself is not well cracked and you go into a relationship, you would mess everything up. Even when two people have been destined to get married to each other, If they do not know themselves very well, there always a clash, there always a misunderstanding. That relationship have values, have standards, keep on improving on yourself. Don't make marriage or relationship the ultimate thing. Your vision, your purpose, and how to fulfill it should be the ultimate thing. Your relationship should just be an addition, an icing on the cake, and not the cake itself. If you do these things properly, have counselors, people that talk to you, that guide you, and making your choices, that help you see things the way they are, and table it to you the way they are, you would always have it right in your relationship. If you break that cycle of heartbreak, if you break that cycle of history, that long history of heartbreaks, and you'll always be have a peaceful and and a fulfilled life. So with this, we shall come to the end of this meeting, and we hope to have another one sometime in the next 2 months. So take care of yourself and remain good. My name is Obed Alexander. I run an NGO called the Pastor Alexander Foundation. It's an avenue for which we use to reach out to people, to bring this message of truth to people. Because there are so many misconceptions out there. There are so many lies being marketed by so many people out there. So this platform is all about telling people the real truth, the naked truth. And I hope this meeting is of help to you. Feel free to reach out to me using one of my social media handles, Alexander Wobbly on Facebook, Alexander Wobodo on Instagram, one letter word, or through WhatsApp. You can even use the comment section here to reach out to me, and I'll be glad to answer any of your questions. See you some other time. Bye. So I don't know if anyone has any questions to ask. You can use the comment section to ask any of your questions, and I'll be glad to answer them.